Folks, didn't miss any action for you here. What little is left, 48 ticks of the clock remain. We're in a timeout right now. The ball's at the Norristown 30-yard line, and the Ghosts about to achieve a victory in their first game of the year.
And I think this really does signal maybe a little shift in the balance of power in Suburban 1 National. This is going to send a signal out for all those teams who weren't looking at Abington that here's another team you have to worry about in that tough schedule in Suburban 1.
Balmer. Hands off the left side. That's a new back we have in there. Ball carrier is number 8, Michael Dickerson. Perhaps a relation to Eric.
He'd probably be starting in that case with those kind of connections. But showed a little bit of the shake and bake there and showed enough poise to know that he didn't want to go out of bounds. He wanted to cut that back inside and keep the clock running.
And I don't know that we have to have another snap of the ball in order to complete this game. We may see one. 14 seconds to play. The Abington players holding their helmets high in victory. Boy, I tell you, it's been a long time coming for this Abington Ghost team, and these kids are pumped. Balmer goes back to pass, goes up deep, and time is out. The game is over. That ball falls incomplete, and the Abington Ghosts come off the field victorious. Norristown goes out to shake hands. Final score 20-10, and Walt, great game by the Abington Ghosts, and I think the better team won tonight.
Absolutely. There's no question that they just dominated the whole game, controlled the line. And at this point, I may tend to agree with you. I don't know what's going on between Abington and Norristown, but I'm not sure about that throw at the end. Regardless, though, Abington, complete domination tonight. And these two teams right now in Suburban 1 look like they're going opposite directions.
Folks, we'll be back in just a moment to recap the scoring for you and talk a little bit about what we saw here tonight at Roosevelt Field. Final score, folks, 20-10. The Abington Ghosts knocking off the Eagles here tonight at Roosevelt Field in a well-played game from the Abington sideline. Well, a very impressive contest. I think the Ghosts are a team to be reckoned with this year.
Absolutely. If they can run their offense that well, if they can stick to their scheme as they did tonight, they're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. Now, they may face another team with the same amount of size, and their lack of speed may come into question. But right now, they certainly look strong enough to come out and beat anybody they want to and surprise a couple of top teams.
The name that we thought we'd be calling the most tonight was their standout player, Marcus Hoover, a tight end, also a lineman, being recruited heavily by Penn State as a linebacking candidate. Really, Hoover, a non-entity as far as the offense was concerned, but a big part of that line, and the line just dominated the ball game tonight for Abington.
Yeah, absolutely. And so often you see a team come in with a star player, and that star player has a great game, but they lose. Abington showed that they have a complete team on offense and defense. Hoover made a couple of the great plays to break up some plays into the backfield, and that's where Norristown lives, is on the rollouts and the exciting plays, the plays that create a little bit of motion. And Hoover did a great job to break some of them up. But as far as that line goes, the offensive line completely dominant, and the Abington defensive line, which we didn't really mention much, but they left no gaps for the Norristown running backs tonight.
No big plays for the Eagles, and a solid game by Abington. And I think two drives epitomize this game. That first offensive series for Abington and the last. Well, not the last when they ran out the clock, but the last scoring drive, rather, for the Ghosts.
Well, they absolutely epitomized the game, and really the first drive just set the tone. Abington elected to give Norristown the ball first after winning the toss, and after managing to stop them, they really put on a nice drive. It was a 15-play drive, and that drive went 91 yards for a touchdown. That was capped off by a 6-yard run. The other drive you mentioned was to start the second half, and they went down another 15-play drive, which just ate up a ton of time. That was another score that at that time, I believe, put them up 14-3, and really left Norristown scrambling to catch up.
The Eagles certainly had a chance to win this ball game. I mean, they were only down by 7-3 at the half. Certainly Abington had dominated play, but the Eagles obviously in the ball game. After Abington went up with that additional touchdown to begin the second half, it looked like a difficult circumstance. The Eagles strike right back. They get a big score, and Abington just put it away.
Yeah, they put it away with one more scoring drive. The Eagles' drive was only a 5-play drive. The big strike that time was John McClure to DeAndre Baker down the right sideline. And that brought Norristown back to where they thought maybe we can have a chance if the defense can stop. At that point, the defense was just too worn down really to do much of anything. When Abington went on their final drive, that one really put it away. That was capped off by a 4-yard touchdown run by Blackstone, another time-consuming drive that really just took all the air out of Norristown.
Well, bright spots for Norristown, I think, were few and far between tonight, but if you had to give one name of a bright spot for Norristown, my vote would be for DeAndre Baker.
Absolutely. DeAndre Baker is the playmaker on this team. I mean, Lofton Thompson is their main running back, but DeAndre Baker is going to be the guy who, if somebody kicks to him, as Abington didn't do tonight, is going to return the kicks for yardage. He showed a great ability to catch that short pass and spin outside, so you don't have John McClure being forced to throw long to try and pick up huge yardage. They're going to throw short. They're going to let DeAndre Baker do it if a corner gives him enough of a cushion. And really, John McClure showed the ability to get him the ball and really to scramble outside. The offensive line, as far as the running game goes, didn't really open too much up. But passing game, they gave McClure a little bit of time. And he actually didn't have too bad a game. He was 7 for 13 through the late interception, but 7 for 13 for 110 yards. The big play, the 45-yard pass to Baker. But I think Norristown now has a quarterback they can have some confidence in to throw the ball when they need to, or to throw the ball to mix it up a little bit. That should diversify their offense a little more, and now they have to rely on their defense.
I agree with you about McClure as well. I thought he played a solid game tonight. He certainly showed a lot of poise and composure out there. My apologies to Lofton Thompson for misusing his name for the second season in a row. I sincerely apologize. We'll try and get it right for the rest of these games. I wonder how much injury affected him tonight. I guess we'll never know, but he really didn't seem to be into the flow of the ball game.
Well, offensively, I think it affected him a lot. I think he didn't have that burst, but I also think Abington was jamming it up. Where you know that injury really hurt Lofton Thompson was on defense. He has been a playmaker for 2 years now, and coming into his 3rd year as a senior leader and linebacker, he really didn't have the chance to hit anybody. I just don't think he could get to the ball fast enough, and Abington was coming right at them. I think they're going to really need him to be healthy and make that big play. He's the guy who could have gotten a turnover tonight for the Norristown defense. Just did not have the legs to do it.
Folks, a fairly well-played game as far as penalties, turnovers are concerned. Abington, not even, as you said, Walt, not even close to a turnover in this ball game. Just a masterful performance, and I think great play selection. Doug Moister did a great job of calling the plays from the sidelines for the Ghosts tonight.
That's right. I mean, he came right out and decided to run the ball and say, let's see what you have, and we thought that maybe this was all that they had. They didn't spread anybody out. They didn't even try to fool anybody. They just went with the 3 backs and a lot of motion back there. But when they had to throw it, they did. And they threw it at the perfect times. They tried that fake punt, which was successful, way down in Norristown way down their own territory, actually. So a very, very risky call that let you know that they were coming out to win this game. They were not intimidated by being in Roosevelt Field at all. I think the play selection was excellent. And with the talent that they have and the solid offensive line, which is what you have to build any offense around, I really think that they can be successful and have some good times in Suburban 1.
And coming up in Suburban 1 for Norristown, of course, the Bucks of Central Bucks West are next on the slate for the Eagles. No easy task. A superb team year in and year out. This year is no different.
Right. Actually, they're better this year than they were last year. They have a lot of guys back. They have a lot of guys returning on that offense, including their big fullback, Dave Armstrong. And they'll come right at you with even more size, and that's just going to wear down Norristown even more with this short week. So they're going to have to figure something out to really combat the Buck strength, which is a lot of experience and a lot of size. They have their quarterback returning and really taking a jump back up into the elite of the state again this year.
Well, the Eagles are going to have to take them one game at a time this year. The Bucks are next. They'll worry about them for the next 5 days. And again, that is a Thursday night game, folks. If you're watching this game on the Norristown High Cable Access Channel, we want to encourage you to come out to Roosevelt Field on Thursday night the 12th. The game starts at 7:30. It should be interesting one way or the other. We hope you'll come out and join the Eagles.
I will tell you this, Norristown will always get fired up to play Central Bucks West. These games will never, ever be lopsided, regardless of the types of teams they have. And I'm sure Roger Grove knows what went on tonight, and he'll prepare very well for this upcoming game.
Folks, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. Again, thank the Norristown Area School District for providing you this ball game, and Mr. Tony Koya for directing and producing tonight, Garrett Hickman for his camera work, and Greg Fry for handling our statistics tonight. We greatly appreciate all of that effort. For Walt Fry, I'm Jeff Brandon. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next game here on the Norristown High Cable Access Channel.